Good morning, year six. I hope you're well and have had a good morning so far. We're thinking in our English today about how we can use adverbs appropriately to describe the actions our characters are doing in our writing. And we're going to end the session by writing a piece of action relating to characters, particularly the protagonist and the main character in your Just So story. Okay, so today, to be successful, we need to clarify the type of words which are adverbs and those which are adjectives, just to make sure we're clear on our understanding of the different types of language. We need to confirm we understand what some adverbs mean. We need to figure out which adverbs are most appropriate in certain uses. So in certain sentences, how we want to modify that verb. We want to use some sentences which we've used adverbs in. We want to make them even better by using relative clauses. And finally, we want to think about the types of language that you want to include in your Just So stories. Okay, so there's quite a lot to do. So we need to get on. Okay, guys, just a bit of recall here. Adverb or adjective. Okay, so what we're going to think about is which adjective and adverb are in these sentences. So the loyal soldier fought courageously for his country. Sometimes a clue, and it's not carte blanche, it's not always the truth, but sometimes a clue is that ly suffix. I'm thinking courageously might be an adverb. I can see my noun there is soldier, so I'm thinking that the verb that precedes the noun might be the adjective, so I'm thinking loyal maybe. Then I'm going to look at my second sentence. The curious cat chased the black shadows. Interesting. Okay, guys. So, loyal soldier was the adjective. Courageously, that ly suffix was that clue for that being an adverb. And then the cat was the noun in the second sentence, but so were the shadows. So the black shadows. So there's two adjectives. Okay. Here we've got the idea of sorting between adjective and adverb. Okay? So which of these words, ferocious, savagely, and frightened, is an adverb and which is an adjective? Best way to identify this will be to look at the words which precede or follow the adjective or the adverb. So if we look at ferocious, it's followed by beasts. That makes me think that's a noun, beast. So that word before is going to be an adjective. Terrorized is a verb. So I'm thinking if the verb's being changed, the verb's being amended, it's probably an adverb doing that. And frightened villagers, well, villagers are a noun. Villagers are a people. They're a thing. So I'm thinking that's an adjective. Okay, guys. Hey, just got it right. Okay. Now, adverb here. Okay, so sorry, guys, I've done that too quickly for you. The baby was born prematurely. Where's the adverb? We've talked about the idea that the verb might be being changed because we know that adverbs tell us how something happens, where they're changing the verb. And they also sometimes are prepositional features where they tell us where or when something happened. Okay, so here the baby was born prematurely. The being born was the verb. The prematurely tells us that it happened before people had hoped that it would happen. So the baby didn't have its full gestation period of 9 months. Okay? Prematurely is our adverb there. The second one here, the approaching is being done by the strange gentleman who's gone and put his head in a line. So he's approaching the gentleman. I'm sure, Kyron, if you did it, you'd be swaggering around. You'd be very confident. I, on the other hand, would be somewhat nervous, okay? I would be approaching nervously, okay? So my verb is approached, and my adverb there, the manner I'm doing it in, is nervously. Now, poor old sausage here, Peter, keeps going to this dreadful place, Old Trafford, and watching this awful football team. Okay. Now, it's a shame for him, but he doesn't just do it once. He does it frequently. So the watching is the verb, the adverb is frequently. He does it a lot. Can you imagine something so terrible? Not like watching Newcastle, a silly, silly man. Okay, the boats made their way to the quay and anchored alongside. Now, this is one where our clue of an ly suffix isn't there. There's no word in this sentence with an ly suffix. However, there is an adverb. And remember, adverbs, where, when, and how. Now, I can't really see how they made their way along the quay, to the quay. I can't really see when, but I can see where because they anchored alongside. So the adverb there is alongside. So that preposition, that alongside, tells me sometimes as an adverb where something happened. How frequently is this aquarium being checked? It's quite a funky aquarium. It looks a little bit scary to me because I'd always be worried somebody would plunk it in and then we'd have fish milkshake. Okay, but it's checking daily. Okay. Here we've got somebody who is looking at another police officer. This might be a trainee police officer on the left, looking at the police officer on the right. Is he looking nervous, like he's talking to a lion? Is he looking fearfully? No, he's smiling confidently. So the verb is to smile. The adverb is confidently there. Guys, so we've got the idea of those adverbs, and again here, none with the ly suffix. Okay, so we've got here that he flew overhead. Okay, so again, that ly suffix is not there, but we're learning where the action is taking place. So the flying is going over our heads, flying overhead. So the adverb there shows us where something's taking place. Okay, guys, now we're going to think about which adverbs are most appropriate when we're describing our character's actions. Okay, remember they're how, where, and when something happens. So we've got those adverbs which we looked at earlier, which we were included in those sentences. So nervously, confidently. So they're antonyms of each other, really. They're the opposite. Alongside and overhead. So this hand is now alongside this hand, but now this hand is overhead. So different prepositional ideas here. Frequently. So that chap who goes to watch the football frequently. Poor man. No goals there. Prematurely, so early, and daily. Then we can group those together. So we've got how, as those nervously and confidently ones. We've got where, so alongside and overhead. We've also got when, so how frequently something happens, how often, and frequently, prematurely, and daily. If we look, we can also furnish ourselves with some synonyms for those that we can use in our writing. So we can think of somebody being nervous might be anxiously acting. If you're confident, you might be assuredly acting in a particular way. Rather than alongside, we might say beside. Rather than overhead, we might say above. Frequently sometimes is synonymous with regularly. Prematurely doesn't always mean something's come early. It can be used as that, but it can also mean that something happens because somebody wants it too much and almost goes too early. So you could say that somebody acts impulsively, acts prematurely. If you shout out an answer before you're supposed to, you could be acting impulsively and giving the answer prematurely. And every day might be a synonym for daily there. Okay, so we've got that language bank up on our top left of our screen. And what we're going to try and do is use those to complete some sentences. So we've got Sam here, new classmate for you all. Sam entered the classroom. We know now what he's doing. He's entering the classroom. What we don't know is how he's doing it. Okay, so we're going to maybe put that adverb at the beginning of the sentence. So before the concept of Sam entering the classroom, we're going to affect the verb of enter with the preceding adverb. So we're going to say confidently entering the classroom. Okay, confidently entering the classroom. He's not worried about Hania telling him what's wrong with his writing. He's not worried that Imani's going to be better than him. He's confidently entering the classroom, which is great because we like a bit of confidence. Okay, so we've now got Sam confidently entering that classroom. Mr. Spring not confidently using the PowerPoint there as it bounced around. Now we've got a lion moving. Okay, so the sentence there is really simple. The lion moved. The noun is the lion and the verb is to move. Okay, so the subject of the sentence is the lion, the moving is the verb. So we've got a simple sentence, the lion moved. Okay, now the lion moved, and then the closed element of this sentence, the gap, precedes the words the other animals. So rather than the lion moved and then I'm going to affect the manner, I'm going to think about where he goes. Okay, the lion moved. So one of those words which is a where adverb. So alongside, beside, overhead, or above. Which am I going to think about? Well, I'm going to think he's going for his dinner. I'm going to think he's going to go alongside them. I also think he hasn't got wings, so he can't really go above them unless there's some kind of stage into where the location of this event is. So I'm going to think he's going to move alongside. Okay, and that's pretty scary. I might even add another adverb into that one where I might say the lion moved aggressively alongside the other animals. Okay, so I'm changing that move verb with where he's going, but I could also change it how he's doing it. Our teacher visited the staff room. Very unusual scenarios. Okay. Now, what could we do? I mean, could it be angrily? Could he be doing angrily, or should we talk about how frequently he does it? Frequently, let's say frequently. So your teacher, maybe go in there a lot. Well, maybe we can add a bit more. We now know that he's doing it a lot, but we don't know why. So could we add a bit more to that sentence? So frequently, our teacher visited the staff room because he loved coffee. So you can tell in the classroom, as far as I can see, there's not any coffee pots, and therefore there's a reason to this verb being amended by that adverb. Okay, so we got that idea. These adverbs support us as writers to add extra information without necessarily adding further verbs or nouns. What you're going to do is think about how you could affect some of these sentences. Now, I'm just going to get my face away from that part of the section. Okay, so we've got a child arriving at 7 a.m. Now, you know when school opens, it's not that early. So if they're arriving at 7 a.m., a sunny day where they're arriving, what's the word going to be about the timing? Okay. Or now looking at Scrooge, thinking back to the Christmas Carol. Confidently, Scrooge said at his friend's ghost. What do we think? Is he confident? Looking at those eyes that are fearful. What do you think? Okay, what would we put in those sentences? My sister sat. Where is she sitting? Okay, where is she sitting? She's sitting there because she was cold. So somewhere in relation to the radiator, on top of, away from, under. What do you think? What would be an appropriate adverb there? Okay, and we've got the idea of the sister here. This isn't my sister, don't worry. We don't have such a big fancy sofa chair as that. Okay, so we've got those sentences that you're going to complete where you pick the adverb to go in them. And then I'd like you to look at that language bank with nervously, confidently, beside, above, frequently, prematurely, impulsively, and use at least one of those adverbs in some sentences that you might write about your life or even about the story that you're considering writing. With that language, then, we're going to start writing a piece of action relating to our protagonist. First thing we've got to do, though, is draw an action sequence. Now, this is the bit where you're all really excited because Mr. Spring is going to do a drawing of his plan. So I've got my plan up here, how the dog got its sense of smell. So I look at my plan, I think about my plan, and you guys are doing the same. Once I've thought about my plan, I draw my wonderful work of art. Okay, you're very lucky to see it. Most people will pay a lot of money to go to a gallery and see such wonderful artwork. My protagonist, then, my main character is my dog. Okay, and that's the dog, just in case you're wondering. And then I've got my additional characters in this picture of my pigeon and my cat. Yes, those are pictures of a pigeon and a cat. Now I'm going to think with my picture as a support tool for me. I'm going to think about how I can do my writing. Right, I've got my no-show. I've got some elements of the type of writing I want to include. And I know I'm going to think in this first instance about cat. And I can see that the kitten, I've changed it from cat, the kitten turned away from the stinking dog. And okay, that's a simple enough sentence. Okay, so I've got what's happening and I've got in relation to which other character. But can I add more in? Well, the kitten, I can add a relative clause in here, can I? The kitten who had just noticed the awful odour turned away from the stinking dog. So I've got that relative clause into my writing now. I'm liking it a bit better. Now I'm thinking, hang on a sec, I've got my other character, the pigeon. The pigeon flew. Simple sentence, action, and subject. Okay, the pigeon flew. I haven't said how or where or why. I haven't changed that verb yet. The pigeon flew away from the origin of the scent. So remember, the dog's the stinker, and the pigeon's going away from the origin of the scent. So I've got that adverb changing that I now know the direction of the flight from the pigeon. So I can also change the adverb again, or use another adverb. He's not happy about that smell. He's flapping his wings. He's angrily he flew. It should say the pigeon. Angrily, the pigeon flew away from the origin of the scent. So I've got that idea of how he's going, where he's going. Okay? So I've got a bit more information using my adverbs now. Hang on a second. What? They're going to have a chat, aren't they? I know that my story was about the two of them talking and trying to change that smelly dog. Why does he keep doing this? Asked the unhappy feline. Sorry, guys, I know that's a dreadful piece of writing because I've forgotten something, haven't I? My dialogue should include inverted commas. Well done for reminding me. Thank you. So before and after my direct speech culminates and with a question mark just before the second set of inverted commas. So that's a bit better now, so that looks great. It's a conversation, though, so it's a conversation with some action as well. So why does he keep doing this? Asked the unhappy feline as he moved his claws towards his whiskers. Because he's doing that to maybe cover his nose up. Okay, so we've got the idea of that conversation and the action going on as well. Now his friend responds, he can't understand the stench he produces, responded the unhappy bird. You've got an unhappy teacher here as well, because I've forgotten to do my writing, haven't I? Thank you, Natan. I forgot new speaker, new line, didn't I? What it should look like is the question, the first piece of dialogue with why does he keep doing this? And then the second piece on a new line, so new speaker, new line. Well done. Okay, and we've got that adjective of the unhappy bird. So we've got the idea here of developing a dialogue with some action with those adverbs to affect the verbs. Okay. Now, if I'm thinking about